All right, going back to cancel that screen share. All right, so I think that most of you guys are on that WhatsApp for cohort 8. If not, there is the um, QR code. And if you are having any issues with that, I can also send you an invite to your number, which I believe I have for everybody. So just let me know, send me an email, and we can get you guys all on the WhatsApp. It's kind of the main way to talk and communicate internationally these days. All that you need is an internet connection. So it's very easy. It's encrypted. That's one other thing I did. I went to this cybersecurity workshop for teachers that I'm by no means a tech teacher, but they were looking for people that weren't technology people. So they said that WhatsApp is good in that it's encrypted. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have that ability, especially once we're over there. All of the host families do have Wi-Fi as well as the Spanish school, and then most cafes and stuff like that in Antigua also have Wi-Fi. Also, you should have access to the share folder. If not, let me know. And other than that, the main thing that I'm going to just touch base briefly on is the packing list, especially as we're getting closer to departure here, as well as the homestay families. So that's the main two things that we're. It's a little outdated. This is from a couple of years ago, but it'll just say 2023 on there. Speaking of the packing list, I think I have that on here. Packing list. Let me go ahead and throw that into the chat. Copy that link. Let me go back to here. Chat. Oh, okay. Melissa, I saw that message. Thank you. Okay. So the main thing on the packing list is this is pretty extensive, so don't feel like you need to necessarily have all of this stuff. So if you're wondering on stuff like the passport stuff is in the very, very small chance that you're gonna, lose your passport or have it stolen, or which hasn't happened, knock on wood thus far. But yes, it would be good to have a small day pack, especially some, REI has those ones that are kind of um, that you can kind of like, it's basically like a grocery bag, but it compacts down very, very little. Um, Small towel and washcloth. The families will provide you with a towel for bathing. But I like to have like a little washcloth as well and stuff like that. They'll provide you with linens. Some people like my daughters, they like to have like a little mosquito net because they want to be able to have that comfort of knowing that they're not going to get bitten when it's, when they're sleeping. The mosquitoes aren't bad in Antigua, um, but that is something to consider. A lot of this stuff you can buy in Guatemala. Sunscreen, hand sanitizer, you can get in Guatemala. Insect repellent isn't a popular thing in Guatemala, so you might want to bring that, and also the anti-itch cream for bites, like that little pen thing you might want to bring. If not, people on the cohort will have it. Definitely a pocket-sized Spanish-English dictionary. Um, Small notebook, they will provide you one at the Spanish school, so you don't need to have that same thing with writing utensils. It's good to have a couple extras. Some information on the electronics, like we talked about. They use the same type of electricity plugs and stuff like that we have, but sometimes it'll just be the two prong. So you might need it, like if your charger for your like if you're bringing a iPad or something like that, if it's a three prong, you might need to bring the converter, but most likely it'll be fine. Um, and then would definitely bring your phone as a not only as a camera, but also to be able to use for like WhatsApp and stuff like that when you're in Wi-Fi. Even if you don't go out and get like you know, they have the phone plans, and you can get like one of those Cricket phones and stuff like that. Or you can get the chip for your phone, but in my opinion, for 2 weeks, it's not worth doing all that. But we will be going on a orientation of Antigua on day one, where we'll show you where you can do all that stuff if you're interested, which is basically at like the grocery store called Bodegona. So it's kind of like a large grocery store that has everything. And then definitely, it says sandals, but keep in mind, like it also says, is that there are cobblestone streets. So even though everything is going to be within walking distance, within a few blocks, like the homestays, as well as the Spanish school, or our meeting point for our van, because for our morning activities, most likely we'll be taking the van. So all of that stuff's within walking distance, a few blocks. But they do have these cobblestone streets that are really great, and it's part of this like colonial town that Antigua is, but it's pretty hard on the shoes, especially the sandals and the ankles. So they do have sidewalks, but they don't have the Americans with Disabilities Act. So that's one thing that I tell my students and my kids, my actual kids, is like, it takes going to another country to realize what we have here as far as, for example, the American with Disabilities Act. So making it so the sidewalk is all standard. They have like little, you know, on the corners, every street corner is required to have kind of like a little wheelchair accessible thing. They don't have that. So the sidewalks, you'll see the curbs are kind of different sizes. The building codes are not as consistent as we have here in the US. So just keep that in mind as far as sandals go. If you do bring sandals, I would bring like maybe a Chacos or Tivas type thing. And then it is the rainy season, so maybe a small umbrella or a poncho or a lightweight rain jacket with a hood. I would not be surprised at all if we're getting daily rains in the afternoons, kind of like those of us in Colorado have been getting pretty regularly. Thankfully, in Durango, it hasn't been making its way down this way. And then also, like I mentioned last time, for the school visits, I would bring one to two professional quote unquote outfits that a teacher might wear in the US. Um, it does not need to be like a three-piece suit, but something that's not a t-shirt, like a nice blouse for women or something like that. And a nice pair of pants, not even you don't have to even do a skirt, just something that's not like jeans or shorts, to be able to go into your Guatemalan school visit. And then the other thing is spaghetti straps. That's mainly for like if you were to go into, there's a couple of different cathedrals and stuff like that, or with our Guatemala school visits. But other than that, it's not as big of a deal. But just also to know that, in Guatemala, it is more conservative than in the US for the most part, as far as clothing goes. And then I had also mentioned as far as a money belt, that's especially if you are going to be changing your money out directly with the bank instead of doing the ATM route. So I'd mentioned last time to be able to check in with your bank to be able to see what kind of a fee they charge for ATM withdrawals, because ATM is definitely the best way to go. But I would recommend, to check with them to make sure that that's not going to be like, they're not going to give you a huge fee. So if they are going to give you a huge fee, then you might want to bring a money belt, because then you'll need to bring your passport as well as American money. They allow you to exchange, I think it's like $500 a month cash or something like that at each bank. So, okay, so I'm going to pause right there. And if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know.
I have a question about the school clothes, because my school is very casual here. And I have like a sundress that I think is conservative because it's long and seems conservative, but it is a tank top, like wider than what I'm wearing now. Is that appropriate, or would any sort of tank top be inappropriate?
No, like what you're wearing now is fine. Yeah.
This is a running shirt, but
Oh, okay.
what I
All right.
have what I have is like I just I've kind of stopped getting like school clothes because my school
I
doesn't.
know that's like how it is in Durango too.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
Sam has like a button up. He wanted to ask, like, he has like a button up, like it's a biking shirt, but it's has buttons and a collar. Is that like
Oh yeah.
school
Yeah, that's
appropriate?
totally fine. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think tank tops, I think that they're fine too. Like with women, it's a
I
little bit.
wouldn't wear this in Guatemala last time I was there, and I probably still won't, but I'm more nervous. Like
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't wear this right now that I'm wearing.
Well, I think more than anything, when you have like a bunch of quote unquote gringos that are coming into a Guatemalan village that they're not used to gringos, I mean, we're gonna stick out no matter what. With that said, in El Hato, they do have like this sustainable living, like Earth Lodge type place. So there's a lot of people from the US and Europe that go up there for that. It's kind of this like natural vegan type living place. So there's a lot of people that go through El Hato for that. But to be in the school is a little bit different. But I've been working with them for so long that they're even used to that. But yeah, I think that when in doubt, you can probably assume that it's going to be okay, that you can just go ahead and go for it. And with the tank top thing, the only thing that I would say is spaghetti straps, no, but other than that, I think it's fine, you know. And then the button up thing for Sam, I think is also fine as far as like the bike button up with collar. Yeah.
His school is ties, and I was like, I don't think you need a tie,
Oh,
right?
definitely no tie. Don't need a tie.
Our schools
Wow,
are like
every day.
codes. Yeah.
Whoa.
And like you can wear whatever you want.
Yin and yang. What other
Us-
questions you guys have as far as the packing list?
Steve, I have a question about the cell phone. I was noticing on the other slideshow from last time, it said to try not to flash around your cell phone. If I'm using my cell phone as my camera, is that a bad thing?
It depends where you're at. So the reason why I said that on the last one is because somebody was running in the early morning on the outskirts of town, and that's when they flashed their cell phone and they were by themselves. So if you are either in like the daytime or in like a busy area of town, and this is where like we talked about last time, it's kind of a common sense thing as far as what would you do in like downtown Denver. And so, there have been times in downtown Denver where it's like late at night and the hair on my neck starts to stand up a little bit. So common sense as far as if you're by yourself, definitely I would be a little bit more cautious as far as pulling out that phone to take a picture. But usually you're going to be with somebody. So I think as long as you're with somebody else, then that's totally fine. And even if you're by yourself, if it's like a busy area of town or like it's right by the school or right by your family homestay or something like that, then that's probably also okay. So does that help, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, one more question.
Yeah.
My husband's really concerned about how he's supposed to contact me, or if he can't get a hold of me, who is he contacting? Should I add him to the WhatsApp thing, or can I connect you and Blanca and he on WhatsApp?
You can just talk directly to him on WhatsApp. So as long as he signs up, then you can do a separate text stream for him.
I
And
think he's more worried because we did that when we went to Costa Rica, but if for some reason he's watching too many Taken movies,
yeah,
if he can't get in touch with me, who should he contact?
yeah. So we'll put the home number of each homestay family in
Hmm.
the share folder, as well as Blanca's number. So that would probably be the best two options. So Blanca will be with everybody the entire time, as well as he can always reach out to the homestay family that you're going to be with. So we'll make sure to put that in the share folder.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Oh, and the other question I had when I looked over the list before was it says we need an extra copy of the people's passport photos. I do not have an extra copy of Micah's passport photo. It took us a lot of tries. So can I just bring 2 copies of his passport and,
Yeah,
we'll cross that bridge if we need to, but I
yeah,
don't have another
totally.
copy.
I mean, they have places in Guatemala that are kind of like Walgreens where you can get passport photos there if, if we need to cross that bridge. Yeah.
He's a little older now. Maybe he'll be slightly better. But it was a challenge.
What other questions you guys have so far?
I have lots of questions, but I'll let you keep going.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Orientation. We got our packing list. I already talked about that. Okay, at the airport. We've got Luis. He's been with me for, I think, going on 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. He's a great guy, and he's our transportation coordinator, and he will be waiting for you at the one place. There's only one possible location. That is the exit from customs. And there'll be a sign that looks like this that has your name on it. So it'll be straightforward. They have a screen at the exit from customs that has like real-time updates on flight delays and stuff like that. So it should be streamlined, and no matter when your flight is, no matter how long it's been delayed for, it'll be fine. And then also I will provide Luis's number where, if you miss the flight, then I would just talk to Blanca. I think that's the best option, is to be able to talk to Blanca. And other than that, you don't need to update with anything because we've got all the flight information, so you don't need to like say like, oh, my flight's been delayed by 3 hours. Like, we have that information that says that, so don't worry about that. It's mainly just if you are not actually on the flight, we don't have that information. But
Okay,
other than that, we'll have a sign with your name on it that has Spanish for Educators logo.
here's my next question.
Go ahead.
Okay, back to the whole taken thing. How do I know it's Luis? Do we have a picture of Luis? Do we have code words? Like, how do I really know you're Luis, not just some random person with this sign? I have to ask.
Okay, so how about you have this sign, and then what do you think should be the password?
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and make the password El Hato.
Can you spell that in the chat?
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Or let's just make it let's just make it watermelon. Sandia.
My
Ooh.
dad's a police officer, and he's very upset that I'm going. He's very worried too. I told him that I would be fine, but he's been asking a lot of questions about safety and things.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did we decide the password was?
Sandia. And I'll make sure to pass that along to Luis.
Thank you. So when I see him, and if he doesn't say watermelon, I'm gonna run the other way.
Yeah. And for some of your guys' flights, I'm gonna be there too, or Blanca. But not necessarily. So okay, Luis.
And Libby, I'm also a cop's daughter, so there you go.
Well, and it's another conversation, but I think that with the pandemic, I think too many people were watching cable news of one persuasion or the other. My mom, for example, way too much CNN. But okay, so Luis, code word Sandia.
So I have a question.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Am I allowed to like defend myself if somebody like grabs me? Like nobody's gonna like arrest me if somebody like grabs me from behind and like I punch them in the face or whatever. I doubt that'll happen, but I'm just like,
Totally.
okay, so that I'd be okay. They're not gonna throw me in like a Mexican prison for defending myself.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that if somebody is like accosting you, then you have every right to be able to defend yourself.
Absolutely.
And I will also say, you know, in the 10 years that I've been doing this, that's never happened. So the only incident that has happened is that somebody was jogging early in the morning on the outskirts of town to try to get a good view of the town, and they got their iPhone, and I think they had on like a necklace or something like that, and they got that taken, but they just wanted the stuff. So they didn't like go after the person. But yes, very similar to here as far as like self-defense. Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Other than that, guys, thankfully everybody has signed up for Lake Atitlan, including, I think I mentioned last time that I was thinking about going somewhere else, to Mukchampe, because we've been to Lake Atitlan a lot, but I haven't been to the place that that we're going this time around, and it looks amazing. And Blanca said it was just so cool. So if you want to check it out in the Airbnb, here's the link to it. This is kind of our midweek, our mid-trip getaway. Blanca's going to give us some cooking tips. It does include ground transportation, as well as, it says boat transportation, but we have a different place now where we can actually just take the shuttle straight to the Airbnb. And then instead of 2 nights lodging, it's actually 3. So it's going to be on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. So 3 nights instead of 2, but no boat transportation. So, but there is boat transportation that you can do on your own that goes on different cultural tours of the lake. There's a lot of different villages to check out. There's an artistic village that if you're into art, that's really cool. There's a larger town that has kind of like the, you know, the pub scene and the discotheques and stuff, but there's also a lot of more relaxed and chill things that are really cool. There's like one that focuses kind of more on yoga and kind of meditation and spirituality and stuff like that. So a little bit of everything for everybody. And there, I put in the chat the link to the place. But food is on your own. So everybody kind of, we're going to go to the grocery store on the way there. There's a kitchen that you have access to, or we can decide to kind of like go in on something and, you know, do meals and stuff like that. Or we can pay a little bit extra and there's somebody that can prepare the meals for us. So if that's up your alley and you'd rather just pay a little bit more, then let me know and we can see if we can arrange for that. Otherwise, I'm the kind of person that I kind of like experimenting in the kitchen. And last year I was a little bit jealous because Blanca was able to kind of teach the group various dishes and they kind of had fun with that. So, but other than that, T-Call, right now we've got Lisa